And as for rules, we didn't carry military manuals around with us. We were out on the veldt, fighting the Boer, the way he fought us. I'll tell you what rule we applied, sir. We applied Rule 303. We caught them, and we shot them under Rule 303.
Well, g'day, goeiedag, as they say over there. I'm Cherry, this is my channel. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the Boer War, my relationship and knowledge of the Boer War, but we're not going to predominantly talk about the event itself, more my connection and fascination, which has been a lifelong fascination with the Boer War. 1899 to 1902. In 1971 my family migrated to South Africa, and going to school in South Africa I was exposed to history. I love history, I always have, and that's where I first started to learn about the Boer War. Now before we go too far into these videos, this one is a Boer War stream. So I plan to have 3 streams, the Zulu War, the Boer War and the family trip in 71, culminating hopefully in October next year when I go and film some of these battlefields that were such important events in South Africa's history. If you're a history buff like myself, then South Africa is full of battlefields and monuments and important places in history. Names, the Zulus, the Boers, Matabele, the Xhosa, the English, all left their indelible mark on South Africa's history in the battlefields. So yeah, for myself, as I said, we got to South Africa in 1971. We went to live in a little town called Brakpan in the Transvaal, and they were predominantly Afrikaans speaking, and we were very much the outsider speaking only English. Came to realise that there was still quite a lot of resentment in the area towards the British, and the Boer War in some ways had never ended for a lot of those people. I think the biggest thing that I remember that got my fascination in this Boer War was a school trip we took. And I think it was about 1972, it was for primary school. We got on a bus, Dad fed us at the school, and I was probably about 12 years old, jumping around with all the other kids and causing mayhem as we did. But on the way down to Durban, which is where our destination was, on the way one of the bus drivers or the teachers pointed out to the right of the bus a blockhouse. Now, if you know anything about the Boer War, these blockhouses were erected in around 1900, 1901 by Kitchener to try to stem the Boers, which had evolved into a guerrilla war. And these blockhouses were interspersed all along the veldt with barbed wire, and they had a contingent of about half a dozen troops stationed there. We didn't stop the bus, we didn't get out to look at the blockhouse, but that's my first memory of being interested in the events of so long ago. Of course, I knew that Australians had served in South Africa, and I was, I was a bit of a patriot when I got over there. I was proudly Australian, and so that was an added bonus. When we got back, sort of in about a year's time in 1973, we went to live with a woman called June in Brakpan, and she was a very devout Afrikaans woman, very proud of her heritage, and it might have been her that gave me a book. I'm not sure where it came from. I was an avid reader even as a young kid in those days. The book was something along the lines of The Khaki in the Veldt, or The Dust in the Khaki. It was the story of a British officer in South Africa serving in the Boer War, and the way it was written, it just evoked my imagination, and and that's what got me started, I think. Now, I do have some things that I've collected along the way, which I'll show you. I've got a Boer War medal. I bought it just in a medal shop, probably in about 1990, and that's the front of the medal, the clasps. That's the back of the medal with Victoria. The clasps for South Africa in 1901, Transvaal, the Orange Free State, and the Cape Colony. The name on the side of the, I can't read it, but I've never been able to find any information on the soldier that was awarded the medal. I love it. I've also got this little pin, and I don't know where I got it from. It seems to be the flags of the old Transvaal Republic, and it seems to be a commando on his horse doing that. So I don't know where I got it from, but I've had it since I was a young teenager. These plates I got in Heathcote, in the town not far from us. I recognised them in an antique shop from the windows. That's MacDonald, Hector MacDonald, they call him, Fighting Mac. Closet homosexual, and took his own life in a hotel in Paris. Way to go. This is Lord Roberts, or Bob they called him, and he commanded the troops in South Africa before Kitchener took over. Lord Roberts lost his son at the Battle of Colenso in Natal. Got these books in the early 90s. The big volume here, that's volume 2. It's published in 1903. Heavy going, I must say. I've never read it all. And then I've got these were a set of books. And these are published 1901. They tend to focus on the march to Pretoria. So that's been my interest along the way. Now I've bought myself a new Osmo DJI camera, the action camera. I'm waiting for the memory card, so this is being recorded on the other Sony that I have. But once I get the new camera up and running, I will be visiting sites around Victoria that have Boer War links to them. So they're mostly going to be Boer War memorials to Australian soldiers lost in the war in South Africa. So that's it for the moment. Just to pique your interest a little bit, stay tuned to the channel and you might see some edits along the way until I get to South Africa next year, and then we plan to visit Spienkop, Colenso, Modderfontein, perhaps Paardeberg, and other places that of interest to me in my Boer War stream. As I mentioned earlier on, there'll also be streams on the Zulu War, and also some memories of the trip taken to South Africa from the time of leaving the docks in Brighton, Victoria, till arriving in Durban, and our train journey up to Pretoria. But that's all to come, so if you're stuck around this far, congratulations. Over and out.